Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely flip the script on how we think about viruses. I know, for the longest time, we've all been conditioned to see them as the bad guys, right? Just these microscopic invaders we have to constantly fight off. But today, we're stepping away from that pretty limited perspective. We're going to look at previous discoveries and ongoing research to recognize viruses for what they truly are, the essential mutual partners of literally all life on Earth. Look, it's completely natural to view viruses strictly as disease-causing pathogens. We've all been sick. We all know exactly what that feels like. But what if they're actually the unsung architects keeping our entire global ecosystem functioning? Current science is showing us that pathogenesis, actually causing disease, is honestly a pretty poor evolutionary strategy for a virus. Instead, viruses are deeply, deeply embedded in the evolutionary history of nearly all life forms. They're like the ultimate architects of genetic innovation. To really wrap our heads around their impact, we first have to grasp the staggering scale of the virusphere. Ready for this? 10 to the 31st power. That's a 10 with 31 zeros behind it, and that is the estimated number of viruses currently on our planet. It is a number so insanely large that some scientists argue we should stop using the word astronomical to describe huge things and start using the word viral. They're in literally every environment, constantly sampling and interacting with life. And with numbers that massive, they aren't just passing through, they are the absolute foundation of the biosphere. Okay, let's get right into section 1, our viral mutual partners. So scientists use this concept called a Holobiont to describe how plants, animals, and microbes don't actually exist as isolated individuals. Actually, it's more like we exist as these bustling, highly cooperative cities. You, me, the tree outside your window, we're all holobionts. We are completely intertwined with the genetic flow of viruses. Now, when this functional association breaks down, sure, dysbiosis and disease happen. But when it's working properly, it's an absolute masterpiece of biological cooperation. In fact, causing disease is the exception, not the rule. Previous discoveries have actually shown that the vast majority of viral relationships are mutualistic or commensal. Basically, this means both the host and the virus benefit from living together, or at the very least, the host is totally unharmed while the virus thrives. Let's look at an incredible example of this partnership, the parasitoid wasp. This insect literally cannot survive as a species without a virus. The wasp relies on an integrated virus, a polydenovirus, to suppress a host caterpillar's immune system. So, when the wasp lays its eggs inside the caterpillar, this endogenous viral element wakes up and completely negates the caterpillar's immune response. Without this viral partner running interference, the wasp's eggs would be destroyed instantly. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, that's just a weird bug thing, think again. A truly pivotal discovery revealed that mammalian life, including human life, literally depends on an ancient retrovirus. There's this thing called the syncytin gene, which is expressed in the mammalian placenta, and it's actually derived from an endogenous retrovirus. It forms the barrier that keeps a mother's immune system from rejecting her growing fetus. Without this ancient viral infection becoming a permanent partner in our DNA, placental mammals just would not exist. So yeah, you are literally here watching this because of a virus. How wild is that? Moving on to Section 2, the ocean's viral recycling. Let's plunge into the ocean for a minute. Imagine scooping up just one single teaspoon of seawater. In that tiny amount of water, you're going to find roughly 50 million viruses. Now, don't panic. The vast majority of these are completely harmless to humans, plants, and animals. They're bacteriophages, which means they specifically target marine bacteria. But you might be wondering, why are there so many? And what exactly are they up to? Well, they are providing a massive ecological benefit by running the Earth's ultimate recycling center. It's a process known as the viral shunt. Here's how it works. A virus infects a microbe, causes that cell to break open, and then releases all those vital organic nutrients right back into the water. So instead of those nutrients being locked up forever inside bacterial cells, they're suddenly freed up to fuel fresh algal and phytoplankton growth at the very base of the marine food web. And the sheer scale of this recycling operation is just immense. Viruses systematically eliminate about 20% of all marine microorganism biomass every single day. I know, 20% sounds super destructive, but it's actually absolutely vital for maintaining biodiversity. By constantly breaking down these microbes, viruses quickly destroy harmful algal blooms and prevent any one single species from totally taking over the ocean. It's basically microscopic crowd control. Plus, this massive microbial recycling doesn't just feed the ocean, it literally impacts our atmosphere. This viral shunt stimulates what scientists call the biological pump. By ramping up respiration and cycling in the oceans, viruses help sequester carbon way down in the deep ocean. The math here is genuinely staggering. Viruses are indirectly responsible for reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide by roughly 3 gigatons every single year. They are our invisible, microscopic climate regulators.
Now let's check out Section 3, Surviving the Extreme.
Let's travel away from the abundant oceans to one of the most barren, cracked, and sun-baked landscapes on the planet, the Kaidam Basin in the northern Tibetan Plateau. It's a polyextreme desert, meaning it's hyper-arid, gets blasted by intense UV radiation, and has super high soil salinity. It's honestly so harsh that scientists study it as a terrestrial analog for Mars. Life here is incredibly scarce. But ongoing research is revealing that viruses are this hidden network keeping what little isolated microbial life there is alive in this totally desolate terrain. So, how do they do it? Well, they hand out survival toolkits. They're genetic gifts known as auxiliary metabolic genes, or AMGs. Researchers have actually identified over 32,000 of them in this desert. Viruses strategically transfer these genes to their hosts. They aren't just replicating, they're actively upgrading their hosts. They boost the host's carbohydrate metabolism, enhance carbon fixation and photosynthesis, and even trigger the production of antibiotics and pigments just to protect them against the extreme stress of that environment. But to survive in a desert with so little life to go around, these viruses have to be incredibly strategic. They do a couple of things. First, they use the kill the winner model. This means if one microbial species becomes too dominant and starts hoarding all the scarce resources, the viruses will target it, thinning its numbers to keep the whole community stable. Second, because there are so few hosts available, these desert viruses adapt by developing a broad host range. That lets them infect a bunch of different diverse species just to ensure survival. They really are the ultimate ecological balancers. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the future of astrovirology. All this incredible survival strategy leads us directly to some deeply exciting future research questions in the field of astrovirology. It's a total paradigm shift, really. Because think about it. If viruses are the ones driving genetic flow, enhancing adaptability, and ensuring survival in extreme Mars-like deserts here on Earth, they might just be the exact blueprint for how life persists on other planets. Studying this hidden viral network helps scientists design better planetary protection protocols and totally refines our search for extraterrestrial life. Simply put, if we're looking for life on Mars, we should absolutely be looking for its viruses. So, as we wrap up this explainer, we've seen how viruses literally built our placentas, how they recycle our oceans, and how they keep life clinging to the absolute harshest deserts on Earth. They aren't just pathogens. They are our living, mutual partners. And as we look out to the stars, we're left with this really provocative question. Are viruses not just our vital earthly allies, but the very network waiting to be discovered across the cosmos? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today.